Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Authentically Rubes, a place where we take care of our mind, body, and souls in our most authentic way. Today, I want to talk a bit about just all these different things we hear online all the time. There are so many different ways of doing things in the personal growth community, in the spiritual community. There's a million different ways to heal, and it's a million times too overwhelming for me sometimes. Sometimes I scroll social media and there's just so freaking much going on there that I just want to close it because being someone who's very into personal growth, my whole page is filled with it. And sometimes I want to try everything, but also, we just have to go back to simplifying things a little bit and actually connecting with ourselves because our wisdom is the most powerful resource that we have, our inner wisdom. And I just think that's so beautiful and so magical that we have the ability to tap in and tune into that. But there's a really specific feeling of just connecting with you and connecting with your own internal wisdom. And I want to dive into that a little bit more because really connecting to your own intuition is a practice and it takes time to kind of build that intuitive muscle within yourself. Well, first, I want to start with saying what really is intuition. Intuition to me is our inner wisdom being expressed through us. That's what I believe it is. And I really think that it can be shown in many different ways. I know that all over the internet there's so many different ways, like clairvoyance, clairsentience, all the clairs. I don't know all of them off the top of my head, but different people experience it in different ways. You can experience it through a knowing, a feeling, a message you receive, through visuals that you think of, through pictures, like anything like that. There's so many different ways, through feeling, through smells, like it's everywhere. Basically all through like the five senses. It's really interesting. And it's so wonderfully unique how each of us experiences it differently. And that's why connecting to yourself and having a self connection practice is so vital to that. And this is a practice where I'm not going to give you something that's a one size fits all because it's really not. It's really just kind of experimenting and getting to know yourself, get a feel for your inner world, which sounds kind of weird when you say it out loud, but believe me, it feels really, really good. And it feels just really nourishing for myself to have such an intuitive connection with myself because I feel like I can take care of myself more. I can believe in myself more and really take more inspired and aligned action towards what it is I truly want to create in my life. And I really think that's what so many of us are wanting to do and are here to do and want to step into more. So if that's you, I feel you so much. And I'm so excited to get to support you with deepening your connection with your intuition today. So, the number one thing that I always tell anyone who says they want to strengthen their intuitive connection is to have more time in silence. Intuition is very quiet, especially when you haven't been taking the time to listen to it or be aware of it. It's not going to be super loud, it might be very faint. So you have to purposefully make the space for it so you actually start to experience it more. And there can be little things now that you've noticed through your own intuition naturally, like gut instincts to maybe drive a different way home or to move your body because you just feel so stuck and so like heavy. There's so many different intuitive nudges we get throughout our day that I think most of us don't even recognize as intuition. We just think of it in a more logical way when really there's this beautiful universal power and this beautiful wisdom within us that's always wanting to be utilized. It's one of our greatest tools. So, going back to finding silence, because that's what gives intuition the space to be recognized. That's where we can start to hear messages. That's where we can start to feel things more because we're not being distracted by a million different distractions around us because that is what this day and age is, the age of distractions. I think it's one of the hardest ages to be working on ourselves and to be growing things because we have social media, we have all this stuff happening around us. The world's a freaking crazy place right now. But taking silent time and even just having silent time at different points throughout your day where you'd usually like have Netflix in the background or you would have music playing, like take a little bit of time and just have nothing in the background and just see what that's like. I used to be so terrified of this. I used to think people who drive without music are lunatics, and now I'm someone who drives playing music only half the time because I like the silence now. I really leaned into it, and it used to make me feel so uncomfortable to sit in silence. And if you think it's uncomfortable and you're resisting it, I think that's even more of a reason to lean into it because oh my gosh, so much magic has come from me leaning into the silence because it was something that I felt so scared of doing. Usually, things that scare us the most are really the most expansive for us in the long run, and really something that our soul came here to learn and came here to experience. Another great thing is creating little moments where you can check in with yourself throughout the day. This is where my connection with myself just really went to the next level, was taking time to actually connect with how my body was feeling internally throughout my day. That is something that us as a society weren't really taught to do. We are taught to only address things when they feel bad, only address things when it gets to a point where you can't ignore it anymore, and then go to a doctor or go to a therapist or whatever. But I think addressing these little things as they come up, any emotions as they come up, any feelings in the body as they come up, and just really feeling into that and allowing your body to guide you to where it wants you to go is so, so powerful. And it's how we keep ourselves regulated too. Emotional regulation is such a huge topic these days, and it's because we have so much anxiety, so much depression. That's become such a normalized thing when really I think we've just normalized having dysregulated systems. And we have the power to come back to that regulated state, but we've just normalized being dysregulated so much that I think people are just accepting these things as their truth when really connecting more to your intuitive nature and your intuitive power is going to help you realize that really the truth is whatever you want to make it, and that there is love and peace and joy within all of us. It may be deeper down for others than some, but it's there and it wants us to connect with it. And there may be some layers we have to go through of feeling not very good to get there. But when we can move through our feelings, we take back that power and we're able to transmute that energy into something completely new, something that's joyful, something that is enlightening for us and really just raises our entire energetic vibration. And it's just so, so beautiful. And so, back to my check in, what I really like to do is take a seat. Sometimes I have my feet flat on the ground because that's a really great for just grounding. You can also just do a crisscross as well. Even standing, it's really whatever you have access to throughout your day because maybe you're at work, maybe you have kids, all the different things. But it's basically just closing your eyes and taking some deep breaths. You've probably heard me say it a million times, the power of a deep breath. There's nothing like it. It's it's pure magic to me. But it's taking some deep breaths and then doing a body scan, which I think is one of the most simple ways to feel connected to ourselves and to get our mind body connection flowing without really thinking too hard about it, and an easy way to like get us out of our heads quickly. You just start like at the top of your head, or you can even start at the bottom of your feet. It really doesn't matter which way you go. Really just personal preference. I like to start from my head though. Just picture going down each part of your body and you slowly just observe how each part of your body is feeling as you go from the top of your head down to your toes or vice versa. And the key is to not judge though, and to not try to analyze what's coming up, but to really just breathe into whatever is coming up for you. For me, my body will usually show me if there's something there, like a little tightness somewhere or sensation somewhere, or I'll hear a little message. And it's really the more you do this and the consistency that's so key to deepening this connection and really being able to understand the language that your body and your intuition speaks to you, the more that you show up for it, the more that it'll become known to you. And honestly, you only have to do that for a couple minutes. I like to take those breaks throughout my day in between tasks just to kind of realign and kind of see how I'm doing because sometimes we get so focused on things that are outside of us that we really neglect and forget about our internal world when our internal world is creating everything in our external world around us. It entails how we feel, it entails how we take action, it entails our thoughts. There is so much to it. With intuition as well, there's this huge piece of trust. Trust is like a core foundation of a strong intuition. Because if you don't actually trust what's coming up for you, you might just push it to the side and not think anything of it. And so, how do we develop trust within ourselves? A huge part of this, I believe, is taking action paired with those things that I said before, paired with the silence, paired with doing those check ins on how you're doing internally. Because when you really want to do something and you want to show up for yourself in a certain way and you want to start being this version of yourself that you've always wanted to be, like that's available within you. And deep down, you know that, but you have to start taking that action to prove that to yourself, to show yourself that you can do it, that you have the ability to show up for yourself in that way. And the more that you do that, the more that you're consistent with different habits, with different patterns that are supportive for yourself, you'll start to just grow that muscle more and more. You'll start to really trust in your ability to take action. And when you trust in that, you could start trusting in so many other things. You can start trusting in your ability to rest and relax and intuitively just receive. It's like the more that you take those little actions every day and make commitments to yourself that you actually stick to, that's building trust right there. And every time that you connect with your body, that's building trust right there as well. And every time that you do something that scares you or something that makes you uncomfortable, but you know that you really want to do that thing, that you feel the excitement and you do it anyways, despite the fear, despite how outside of your comfort zone it is, that's where true trust is built. And that's where the foundation can really thrive and ripple out into so many different areas of your life. I also heard one of my mentors say to me that when you start to give your trust out to others too, and you're normally not a trusting person, that's a practice in trust right there. Because it kind of forces you to with other people and it kind of takes it outside of you for a moment. Trust for myself has been such a big lesson, like trusting the unknown, trusting myself, feeling scared of just being such a powerful being, which is so crazy. Once when I learned all about spirituality and this whole aspect of being just an infinite being and just a piece of the universe that's directly me, I thought, oh my gosh, like I have the power to create such terrible things. Like what? Like why am I focusing on that? I have the power to create such amazing things and to be so amazing and to come back to that whenever I want. And that just shows like I always come back to reminders. Reminders are so important. And this just shows that where our focus goes is such a big piece of this too. And that focusing on all the great things that are happening in your life versus things that don't feel so great or things that feel like there's lack or there's scarcity or there's fear around, that is a completely different energy than focusing on being grateful for things or focusing on how really tiny things made your day better or how things are working out in your favor. It's really looking for that evidence. And I have a great episode all about looking for the evidence coming out next week. So keep an eye out for that one. But I would say my biggest thing for connecting to your own intuition is just creating that practice with yourself of self connection time. If you have no time for yourself, how are you supposed to let your intuition flow if you give yourself no time to actually connect with yourself? and understand yourself. My biggest thing for intuition that I just want to leave you with is that there's no right, there's no wrong. It comes through in its own uniquely wonderful way for each person. And the way intuition is going to feel is kind of like a warm hug. It's very loving, it's very nurturing, very compassionate. The second you know it's not intuition and it's fear mindset instead is when you feel really scared, when you feel like a lot of tension, when you feel really all over the place and kind of frantic. And the way that I kind of help myself to differentiate between the two is this feeling contracted or expansive? Because sometimes I feel tense, even if it is intuitive, because I'm still scared, even though it's exciting and it's aligned with my highest timeline and highest path for myself. But it's just asking your body to show you what expansion feels like and what contraction feels like. For me, contraction is very tight and it's very like stuck. But expansion feels very open, even though I may feel fear. It's more of an excitement tension than a fearful, don't want to go anywhere kind of tension, if that makes sense. Fear will feel quite the opposite of that. It's very frantic, it's very all over the place, it's very in your head. If you are very in your head, if you tend to overthink, if you feel like fear is a big thing that gets in the way of you really recognizing your intuition, then I really suggest you just do more things that get you out of your head and into your body, like breath work, dancing, shaking, walking, just really any type of movement is so big as well for just really getting your intuition to show up a little more obviously for you. I know some people that their intuition comes up when they go for a walk. Some people it comes up when they meditate. Some people it comes up when they're just like doing something in silence and they're not even trying. Like that's for me. When I'm going for a drive and like something just pops into my head, or I'm folding laundry and something pops into my head. Like that's kind of just how I experience. I'll experience sometimes meditation too, but I really have to let go for that to happen. But I think it's really cool just how we all experience it differently. And I'd love to hear down below like how your intuition speaks to you and what your experience has been like with it. And my biggest thing for you to take away is just to use these check ins, these little personal check ins every day of some deep breaths and a body scan just to get you connected to your inner world. The more you take care of your inner world, the more that you'll hear your intuition, the more you'll be able to live from that intuition, from that heart centered, authentic place that allows you to really take action and live your most aligned life, which comes together so beautifully and so full circle. So, thank you so much for listening today. I really appreciate you for being here. And if you have any specific topics that you really want to hear about in the channel, please reach out to me and let me know. And as always, please leave a review. It would mean the absolute world for me to know your feedback. Thank you again for being here today. I love you so much, and I'm wishing you an amazing rest of your week and an amazing life. Bye.